Good evening, everybody. You're listening and watching another episode of the Tall and Short of It podcast. We're coming to you live from another rainy Wednesday evening. I'm your host, Justin.
I'm Aaron. Welcome back, everyone. Justin, good to see you, man. How's it going?
Yeah, good to see you too, dude. It's been a wild and wet week here. We've had some sunny days. It's been pretty fun. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm hoping for some more sunny days this weekend. Today was kind of gross out, so and days like that just always kind of put me in that kind of tired mood. So the sun boosts the serotonin.
That's very true. Vitamin D is good for the body.
Absolutely,
And when the sunshine comes, the vitamin D comes. You just got to be out in it to get it.
definitely. Which I
Me
try
and
to. I try to when I can. So
There you go. Me and Sarah were playing tennis over the weekend. We got some good volleys back and forth. Got some rays. I was helping my dad rebuild the pond yesterday. We had another
very
beautiful
nice.
day then. So yeah, those were like the two kind of big things. We finished Drive to Survive, so we can get into that later. But yeah, man, what have you been up to?
Um, A little bit. We had a fun weekend on Saturday. I was at my friend Shane's place. We were watching basketball. We had some TVs set up outside for March Madness. So we're hanging out, drinking, watching that, having a good time with some beautiful weather. Um, I have exciting news. I'm going to be a father to a bonsai tree. Um, I ordered a plant on Amazon, so
Hell yeah.
I'm excited about that. It's about a week away from getting to me.
Nice.
I did order some, like, I'm trying to be a good plant dad and get all the things to take care of it already. So I got
Right.
like a little mini like bonsai tree kit that's got like a little rake for the soil and some pruning shears and different stuff, which
Hell yeah.
my neighbor upstairs apparently got the package, and like I found it at my door when I got home from work with a little sticky note on it. It's like, hey, sorry, this got mixed up with our packages, um, but I'm sorry for opening it. And they had opened the Amazon box. They had opened the little like manila pouch that was inside and all the way
Right.
into the actual thing before they realized, like, oh, what the fuck, we didn't order this. So that was
Interesting.
I
How
got
do you
a
get that far, honestly?
that's what I was wondering.
Like, I always check the address.
Yeah, me too. I like anytime I'm coming in, whether it's like if there are any packages at all sitting by the like in the lobby area, I check all of them for either me or my roommate's name. I mean, typically I know when I have something coming, but
Right.
I don't always know when he does, so I'm always keeping an eye out. And yeah, it was a little. I mean, there are worse things that they could have opened, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's very true. Like an order from baddragon.com.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I occasionally get those coming through.
Wait, just occasionally? You don't have them on regular order? I get
Do you
the
have the
box
monthly
that they have.
subscription?
Yep. Yeah. Just fucking dragon dicks just popping out of boxes every month, man. It's crazy.
Gotta
I got
mix it
werewolf
up.
wieners, fucking Bigfoots, whatever you want.
You gotta keep it mixed up, man.
Bigfoot's feet with a vagina on top.
Whew, you got some
You know,
interesting stuff. I might have to sign up for that monthly,
it's
the
crazy.
monthly
It's
box.
crazy.
But it was funny. I when I ordered the tree, I sent a Snapchat to my friend Shane and a couple other people. And so Shane and his girlfriend are getting a dog soon, but he
Hmm.
hates being called a dog dad. So Shane, if you're listening, I'm just calling you out. So I sent in the Snapchat that I was going to be a plant dad, just to kind of like fuck with him a little bit.
Right.
Because I really don't know why he's like, I didn't give birth to this animal, so I'm not its dad. And it's like, but kind of are. You're like a stepdad.
Well, I don't know. He may be right. Like, yeah, like what does dad mean?
I
Dad
mean,
is like the father of a kid.
You're taking care of it. You're like helping to teach it how to grow up.
So you're more of like a guardian than a parent.
I guess a guardian, but also I feel like saying owner is like
a little cold.
A little weird too, yeah. Like that cold is probably the best way to describe it. It's like it like it's part of the family. People say that about pets all the time. So I don't know. I just thought it was funny, so I'm like, I'm gonna mess with Shane and be like, I'm gonna be a plant dad, and just throw that out there. So
plant dad. That sounds like you could get away with as that is your rap name.
Plant dad.
Plant dad, yeah.
I feel like it makes me sound a little too old if I use it as like a rap name.
Nah, it just means that you've been out here fucking sowing your seeds, dude.
Fair enough.
You know? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. I've got that coming. I've got my Magic set did not come, my box. So I'm actually really annoyed because from the United States Postal Service tracking, I can get very little information about where it is.
Right.
It says that it was in Washington State, and then it's like in transit, package arriving late, and that's all it says. I'm like, is it still in Washington? Is it like being brought across the country? Like, I have no idea.
Right, damn.
Which is a bummer, because I was super pumped to have cracked some packs, get to talk to everyone about what cards I pulled and everything, so that'll have to be for a later date, unfortunately.
A later date. Okay. Well, damn.
Unknown as of right now, so.
Darn. It's out in the ether somewhere.
Yeah, it still says that it's like arriving March 23rd, and today being March 24th. I would say that's incorrect.
Oh, that's brutal. I hate that. I hate when they do that.
I've had a lot of issues with the U.S. Postal Service lately, though. Like, in Philly, I've had a lot of packages get stuck in the, like, Philadelphia distribution center or whatever.
Right.
It's like it's gotten here, but it hasn't gotten sorted to my local post office or whatever. So, yeah. Semi-disappointing, but whenever I do get it, it'll be exciting nonetheless. So.
Oh yeah, get that dopamine drip, baby. Oh yeah.
Yep. But right now, I'm just gonna have to be excited for my bonsai tree that's coming.
Dude, that's sick. Gonna be a plant dad.
Yep.
Hell yeah. The
Exciting
parent
stuff.
To that tree.
Yeah,
because dad implies like dad sounds like very biological. Biological connection.
I guess, but there's like stepdads.
That's true.
You're not biologically connected. You're just coming in as a like.
He does sometimes with the kid's mom connects biologically. Which I'm sure he hates to think about, which is hilarious.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be connecting biologically with this plant, but you never know. It could be some like Poison Ivy fucking DC comic. I don't know. Something.
You'd have some other problems if that was going on.
Probably. Most likely.
Yeah.
I could
for sure.
I'd be like half turning into like Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy.
She'd be calling you Plant Daddy.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, that's my excitement. I also watched the Drive to Survive series. I thought it was pretty good. I have a few nitpicky complaints about it, but overall it was fun going back through and kind of remembering a lot of the memorable points of the season. So.
Or as they decided to show, just like the same 4 memorable points of the season.
Yeah, hitting the same races again and again. And
yeah, I didn't understand that. However, I would imagine if you look at the like if you were to get some behind the scenes magic, I would imagine they would tell you like, hey, our access was really limited. We
Yeah.
were only allowed to be at this track, and this one. You know, we were slotted to have like this, and this, but we only got that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I imagine they got fucked pretty hard as far as filming days.
Well, I think that, and also weird stuff happened this season that doesn't happen in a normal season that were big storylines in terms of like um, George Russell getting to drive Lewis Hamilton's car for
Right.
the what was that, Sakir Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And so I think they're already slotted to be with like another team like during that or whatnot, and so they can't necessarily just completely switch up that schedule, especially if they're like trying to minimize interaction based on COVID protocols and whatnot. So
Right.
I think COVID definitely threw some kinks into the usual workings of how they film, but overall I think pretty solid job.
Yeah, I was saying to, and I'm pretty sure I texted this to you as well. Watching the season cut with dramatic music, like really sweet camera angles,
They
like
added in
getting
some
right inside the cars, all the, which I think you were about to say, the like onboard radios.
well, and some fake ones that they added into to like that was one of my nitpicky things. There were some like fake onboard things that they added in, or not.
Wait, what do
Well,
you mean
not
fake?
like not like fake onboards, but fake like broadcast commentary, I guess. Like not all of the broadcast commentary was like pulled directly from races. Like they would have
Uh,
they interject some different like they come up with some different commentary that they make it sound like it's on the TV broadcast essentially, that helps kind of lead through their storyline that they're putting into the episodes. Um,
Really? So they went back and had those dudes like, here, say this.
yeah, that kind of stuff. Which I mean, not the things. It's not that it wasn't like factual
Right. It just didn't come up
dialogue.
in the
It's
race
just it
naturally.
was, yeah, it was like post production
Right.
stuff that they created that like it was true what they were saying, but it
Right.
was also things that weren't said during the actual broadcast to help guide the storyline through the episodes and all. Which is like,
Damn.
I mean, if it builds the F1 audience and like makes it more entertaining and everything, at the end of the day, I see like no harm, no foul kind of thing. Um, it just it's a little weird. Like you can in some of the instances almost tell that it has like a slightly different sound than like the normal broadcast. Um, and so like to me it
Whoa, because
puts
I didn't catch that at all, bro. Like
I'll
I'm
have
taken
to
aback right
I'll
now.
have to find some clips of it to or like some timestamps and stuff like that
Right.
to send over to you to just like go back and check out because
Gotcha.
there's definitely a few of them. Not that like I said, no harm, no foul. I think it guides the storyline, and at the end of the day, Netflix is trying to make a really entertaining show of it, and
Yeah.
it garners more fans for F1 as a whole. So I can't really complain about it other than
Hmm.
it occasionally like they typically blend it pretty well, but it would occasionally stick out as like not quite fitting what
Gotcha.
like things. Um, but like I said, that's me being nitpicky. Really fun. Sorry for any spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Um, but I think the thing that sticks out in my memory the most was the fact that they just decided to have Valtteri and his agent just like butt ass naked in the sauna for like an the start of one of the episodes, or they're like in Finland or I some Nordic country, just hanging out. Like,
Well, yeah, all right. So that was kind of like weird because like you don't see any other drivers, but at the
just
same time, like that looks like an awesome sauna. Like the window that it had just
oh
out
yeah,
like over that little like fjord or bay, I don't know what you would
yeah.
call it. Like that was amazing.
It was just
And
interesting.
sure, sure,
Did
sure, sure.
unexpected.
But yeah, I thought that was him talking about Lewis was quite interesting about like the being number two and all that. The interviews they get with the drivers, I think, are the most interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that so many of the drivers are willing to give like really solid interviews and
Mm-hmm.
commentary on what's going on in their lives throughout the season. I know you see a lot of certain drivers more than others. Like George Russell and Max really weren't in it much at all, but you got Lance, you got Seb, you got one like sentence from Kimmy, which
Mm-hmm.
is fits his personality pretty well.
Well, Seb was hilarious. Some of the radios they had from him, man. Like
Yeah,
when Ferrari wasn't doing well, and like the behind the scenes they got with him was really funny. Where
that
he's just like,
was
"Tell me something. The car failed."
yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
that and
ooh.
like when they're sitting in the like PR prep
Mm-hmm.
media thing, and he's like, "So this is what we're gonna tell them about da 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 that your move was triggered by Sergio's move, like being let go by Racing Point." And he's like, "So the truth." And he's just like so blunt about it, and I'm glad that they. I heard other people say similar things, but I'm glad that Seb seemed to get a pretty um, good cut about how he was, and Ferrari, it made Ferrari kind of look like the bad guys in that a bit, because I think honestly it sounds like they didn't really treat him phenomenally. And I mean, even throughout the season, you and I both, like, between their onboard radios where he's like getting he and the his pit
Right.
crew were getting kind of snippy back and forth with each other. Like, you could tell that there was some tension, and I think that they highlighted that pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And what was interesting though was they were never going to be able to capture the true essence of it, which was just issues with the car. The car just wasn't driving up to, whatever
Oh,
Seb wanted
definitely.
it to do. And so to your point, yeah, I think you're right. It is more on the organization than it is on Seb at that point, when it's just the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And them trying to almost like save face with the way that they were doing some things, because the car was doing bad. There was tension with Seb. Like, Ferrari just this past season had a kind of a rough go of it. So
Well, and especially the whole thing with like the power unit where there was, you know, the they levied accusations against Ferrari, there was an investigation, and then all of a sudden Ferrari just wasn't as fast.
yeah, the behind the
Nobody said what
scenes
it
like
was.
Ferrari FIA, like they came to an
Right.
agreement or whatever, and all of a sudden Ferrari's just slower.
But I mean, whatever agreement they came to, it sounds like Ferrari lost out because
Oh,
you're right. They
definitely.
were slower. They lost, their star driver in Seb. Even though I think Leclerc um, often looks like a hungrier driver at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Seb can do on Aston Martin.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for Leclerc to be a little bit hungrier because he is younger. He's trying to prove himself.
Yeah, for sure.
He doesn't have 4 world championships, so I think Seb, not that he is not hungry. I think he still wants to compete at the highest level and wants to be
Hmm.
successful. But
Well, that's why he made the move. He wants to be in a better car.
yeah, but I think that when you've won a lot, you may still like have that or want to be competitive and everything, but you don't have as much like desperation's the wrong word because that makes it sound like I feel like that has a negative connotation, but like I think that is kind of the way I would describe like Leclerc's hunger for it. He is like he just wants it.
Right,
Bad.
like chomping at the bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
I got
eager. Eager is, I guess, a better
eager
way.
is a good word. Yeah.
To say that. But I do want to ask, what were your thoughts about Lawrence Stroll from the show? Because they kind of tried to paint him as a villain almost a little bit, like this this big bad money guy coming into F1 and everything.
Yeah,
but honestly,
and then he
respect.
sat alone in that little like filming thing, and said his response, and and then there was like oh, when Lawrence is here, blah 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 blah. I didn't get that like.
And even like when he was coming in for their like preseason testing and like the different things where he's talking with Otmar and everything, the team principal, he's just like I have 2 hours for you, and then I have to be on a plane by 4 o'clock. It's like they're just making him look bad, but he's a businessman. He can't be.
Yeah, he just sat
all his time just like watching over the F1 team. That's what he has team principal and people to handle that
right
for.
Right.
But I thought that was kind of funny that they like tried to paint him as a villain, but at the end of the day, I was like, hey, he's like, he wants to be successful, so he's going to be taking advantage of every opportunity, loophole, whatever that they can get, and run with it, and like that's just hard-nosed business. He's like, this isn't personal. He's like, I'm going to take advantage of whatever I can to get there. So, like, it made me respect him a bit from the way he was like, yeah, get after it.
Now, what's going to be his involvement? I don't know. What's going to be his involvement with the new organization?
I think he's still the primary owner, but he's like, I think he's lost some of his, I guess, like stake in the company by bringing in Aston Martin.
Gotcha.
But also, I think they are more of like a primary sponsor type thing, like they're not like advertising through the car like some of the other advertisers are with their different stuff, but they're more like a name sponsor, like I think you would have for like sports stadiums and stuff like that. Like they want
Heinz,
like Heinz Field or like whatever, the Wells Fargo Center or whatnot. I think that's more of the involvement. I'm sure they put
the Doritos Fortnite Lounge.
Exactly.
Fuck me, man.
I think they're definitely putting in good money and probably have like a part ownership of the team, but it seems as though Lawrence is still going to be kind of the face of that ownership.
Gotcha. And that was kind of the impression that I had gotten from the episode. I just wasn't sure, if you knew anything further.
Yeah, I don't know exact specifics of the deal, but that's kind of like how it's looked, at least from anything that I've seen or looked at. So
gotcha. Did you get new headphones?
I did not. I've been looking at some new ones though, so maybe down the road.
Okay. So they're the ones that you've had.
Yep.
Gotcha. I'm looking at the orange thing on them. I was like, I thought those were blue.
Oh no, it's like red, but it looks kind of orangish today, so not really sure. But
interesting.
Yeah, but they do. This Logitech does have a brand that has blue, it's a slightly better model, and it's blue like everything else.
Right, like the blue earphones.
Right. So you may have seen someone else's and just.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You've been
damn, dude. Sorry to derail you.
Someone else.
No, dude. She doesn't even mean anything, man. She doesn't even mean anything. I just met her, dude. It was only casual, dude. It didn't even mean anything.
We just had a couple of Discord calls. We weren't even recording.
Then what are these? And it's like a folder of like 2 podcast apps, like Pilot, like one named Pilot and the other is like episode 2. Dude, we didn't even release them. We were just fucking. We were just fucking around.
Oh, you better not cheat on me with other podcasts.
I won't.
I appreciate that. That's loyalty right there.
I don't think I could stomach having 0 listeners on 2 podcasts. Ooh. I can handle having 0 listeners on 1, but not 2.
You are just talking poorly of our like 10-ish people who have listened to the pod.
Well, to them I apologize, but
as you should.
Yeah. But yo, as far as Netflix goes, they really should take a page out of the Tall and Short of It podcast playbook, man. Unedited, uncut, unfiltered. Nothing's added in post, man.
Yeah, no, we have no post production additions here. What you get is what you get.
What you got is what you get.
Exactly.
What you see is what you hear, and what you hear is what you get.
Yep. Exactly.
Nice, dude.
But yeah, any other thoughts, I guess, about the show? Anything that tickled your fancy, caught your eye as you were going through?
The one thing that was really sick, I forget what episode it was. It might have been the episode that they were with Mercedes, but they had the camera like low in front of the Mercedes. And they had Lewis Hamilton like real slow, like getting into the cockpit, and it had the like War of the Worlds, like, or not War of the Worlds, the Christopher Nolan like bass drop where it was like, I know, and then it was about. Like slow drop. He's still moving slow. And it was just like this like big buildup. I was like, damn, that's a sick shot.
Well, it's like, have you seen the movie Arrival?
Yeah, with Katie Holmes.
Yeah, I think so.
No, Amy Adams is her name. Yeah, where she's like the linguist with the aliens. Yeah, and they're drawn in the ink.
But when the space pod thing first comes in, it's like that. Boom,
right.
Similar kind of yeah.
You feel me.
I do. I definitely.
You know what cinematic audio tricks I'm talking about. You get it. Definitely. You've been there. You've been to the movies.
And the people out there definitely do as well.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I just gave a pretty good rendition of it there.
I think we did it justice.
Right.
For sure. So.
Big justice. Here, do you want to hear it again?
Go for it.
I'll do it again.
Knock it out of the park.
It was fine before. It was all right.
First time's a charm. But yeah, I guess we'll be starting to get some more F1 content. So we've got the Bahrain Grand Prix coming up, the Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix. I am very excited for it because I took off on Friday from work, so I'm gonna get to watch FP1 and FP2 if I want to.
Hell yeah!
I can get up.
Wait, what do you mean if you want to? Isn't that why you took off work?
Not specifically. I had an extra carryover day from last year that they let me keep because of COVID, and I have to use it before like April. So
right, I understand.
Thought I would give myself a long weekend, but
that's pretty cool.
For FP1, it depends whether I want to wake up at 7:30 in the morning, which is
that's pretty early. But dude, listen, like the way testing went, I would want and hope to see Mercedes get on the track as early as possible and just spin laps like crazy.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of how they come out for the practice sessions and everything before qualifying. I think we got an okay idea of what they're bringing for the first race, at least a little bit. No,
I think we saw. I think we saw exactly what they wanted us to see on the track, and the reactions from Lewis and Valtteri were like smoke screens. They had to have known going into testing that there were suspension issues, grip issues, tire issues that were not going to be solved by the time that they were on the track. The transmission issue that they ran into with Valtteri, I'm sure that was a big setback. But the way Lewis was driving,
the spins that they had, though, the couple of times that the car spun out, like,
yeah,
I think those have to be legit. Like, obviously, like, everyone's pushing the cars to the limits as much as they can.
And that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying they're faking spins.
No.
Like, oh, Lewis, go do some burnouts, throw the journalists off.
Yeah, no, because I mean, obviously, like that's safety concerns and everything. I don't think they were faking those, but
right.
I still have some questions about if they're going to just come out of the gates top dog right off the bat.
Okay, sure. I'm not so confident in that either.
Yeah. So that's why I'm curious about the practice sessions, because I think like you, I think they, not that they were sandbagging necessarily, but that they were getting a feel for the new stuff and seeing how it works out, and are going to have things locked in a little bit more for the actual races. I'm sure they'll fine tune some things, but yeah, 7:30 is normally when I'm waking up for work anyway, so might as well just, even though I don't work on Friday, just get up and watch an hour of testing, and then I can take a nap, go back to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. So, take a nap. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, nice dude, little morning nap.
That's like what the dogs do, man. Like, they wake up with Sarah, they eat, they go out, and then they just like go back to bed. And it's like, what a life you little puppies have, man.
Seriously, man.
I know.
They don't have to worry about food, a roof over their heads. Like, they just have to cry because they didn't get to walk enough.
I know. And just wag their tail at me.
Yeah. And have people like pet them and tell them how good they are.
I know. That's all they have to do, those bastards.
Yeah. Those damn eyes.
The damn puppy dog eyes, dude. Cute. They're hard to beat. I know.
They are. That's like one of the most difficult things to ignore in the known universe.
It's funny when like people try and do it though at you, where they're like, "Oh, just help." I'm like, don't work. Nah. Don't work. A dog melts my heart. A person, you're just being a bitch.
Unless it's maybe your significant other, then they can probably get away with it. No, not for you.
Even more.
I feel like in those cases, though, it's typically more of a funny thing. It's not like a serious like.
Well, it better be. We're not some Digimon Japanese cartoon, man. There's no big eyes that are gonna woo me over.
Save that for the animes.
Yeah, save that for your fucking Yu-Gi-Ohs. Jeez, although I do find it hilarious when they like get exasperated, they get like that big, just like the one big sweat drop. I always thought that little animation thing was funny.
Like when they're angry, the little like diamond thing on the corner of their forehead.
Oh yeah, like... yeah. That it like bulges on their forehead, and they're always like,
Yeah.
And it's like, wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I love some good animation, bro.
Absolutely.
So
Keeps it
funny.
interesting. Helps to communicate the feel of the moment. So
Did I tell you I learned how to Naruto run recently? I'm really good at it.
you just learned how to Naruto run?
I've been getting better at it. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay, you got some.
Once I put the headband on, I go
You're just.
super fast. Yeah, I go insane fast.
I believe it. That's
Some say it's stupid.
stupid awesome.
Well, they're just saying it's stupid, but I think they're talking about how stupid fast I'm running.
Probably.
They're like, dude, you're so stupid. And I'm like, I know, I'm moving so quick.
It's funny. I saw a video the other day. This is not F1 related, but it is Naruto related. But
yeah.
the in the UFC, there's a guy who goes by Stylebender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all of his like stuff is just related to animes. Like he's come into different fights and he's like doing the hand signs and everything before like
hell yeah.
And I think the one he like came out and did some hand signs and then his team behind him like as he's coming out of the tunnel they turned around and like Naruto ran back out of the tunnel like
hell yeah, dude.
The person who was talking about him had all these little clips of him doing stuff. There's one of him at the like weigh-in where they're getting the pictures, and he's like Rock Lee with the arm out.
Yo, that's so sick, dude.
Posing for the picture.
Hell yeah.
Cracks me up. It's so
That's
funny.
actually kind of awesome, man. Just like full send.
Just
doesn't care.
Committing to the bit. He's
right.
I mean, he calls himself Stylebender because he merges all the different like styles of fighting, like the Avatar, with all the different like.
Right. That's so funny.
So
I am the Stylebender.
It's pretty.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty entertaining to see more like famous and popular people just be like, "Yeah, I'm a weeb."
Yeah. Well, there's a dude on he's an NFL player, Cassius Marsh.
Okay.
He plays Magic the Gathering and he's been on the Command Zone game nights a couple of times and he's, big NFL player. Same with what's his name? The Hayward.
Oh,
the guys that was like Hayward. League of Legends is sick.
He's a NBA player. He played for the Celtics. I think he's on the Pelicans now.
Right.
Let's see where he's at.
Yeah, man. Mad people comfortable talking about their hobbies in the
Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, honestly, Gordon Hayward was one of the earlier ones. I think that was like, yeah, I like to game. And not just like the normal mainstream stuff. I guess League is relatively mainstream, but I think for a while it was not considered that way. I think most people thought mainstream stuff was like Call of Duty and Madden and things like that. I think League.
Yeah, I would agree.
Since it's not a console game, I think like PC games took a little longer for them to become considered like mainstream.
PC Master Race.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's cool seeing people that are just like unashamed of their hobbies. They're like, yeah, I'm about it. It's fun.
Dude, that's why I really look up to Ninja.
Same. The way he rages at children. That just gets me going because I'm like, I can rage at little kids like that too.
Dude, they're not even that good.
Because I can't, I don't play Fortnite, so I'm not going to ever be playing games with 8-year-olds.
Oh, come on. Come on now. There's 5-year-olds in Valorant just dicking on you.
Oh, absolutely. There's kids in Valorant. Like I said, I've been bullied by like middle schoolers. But granted, middle schoolers are like the meanest age of children.
Well, and they're like so honed for it too. Their
Oh
reflexes
yeah,
are off the charts.
it's insane. They're like
Yeah.
the middle schoolers. It's the age when they have learned the mean things to say, but don't have the filter that they're like, I probably shouldn't say that. They're just ruthless.
Well, and over a microphone, like you can say anything, man.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if there's
people
no
are.
fear of just getting immediately clocked in the head, like you
Yeah,
just say whatever the fuck you want,
people
man.
are already pretty like messed up with that stuff, but I think like middle schoolers, they're just like ruthless because they've just gotten to that where they just don't have the filter yet.
Well, and there's still the novelty of saying like "come head." You know, they still get like a drip of the like, "Oh, I'm supposed to say that."
Yeah, like
I just say "come head" now, and I'm just talking about my coworker or whatever. It's just a natural thing.
yeah.
But for kids, they say like shit piss cocksucker and they're like,
Well, yeah, because they're like, there's the danger of them not getting in trouble with the person that they said it to, but that like their mom overheard them from the next
right,
room.
right, exactly.
As long as they're not one of the kids that's like, Mom, where are my chicken tendies? And they're already screaming at their parents. Those kids, I don't think like care. I think
I'm not sure they should be allowed to survive, really. I think there should be a place for them.
it's called hell.
Well, well, no, just like an oven that you can just like, nope.
Not,
I mean,
not
just
gonna talk to
burn.
me like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you lose, get out of here.
Yeah. I think that's considered child abuse. And so F1.
And we're back.
um, but yeah, I think this it's gonna be interesting looking at this. I was interested to see with so like people putting down fastest laps and everything. I was curious because during testing, everyone was able to use any of the 5 different softness levels of the tires. Um, you're sitting over there just laughing at the transition back to F1. I can see it on your face.
Well, and the softness levels.
Well, yeah, there's C1 through C5 for
Right.
anyone who doesn't know, and so C5 would be the softest. And the majority of the fastest laps
For the
that
softest podcast.
there's got to be one softer. There's a C6 podcast out there.
Ooh, got him. I don't know who it is though. That's fine. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
Continue.
But
I'm derailing you.
the majority of the fastest laps that were put in over the testing weekend were on the C5 tire, which is not going to be in use. So it's C2, C3, and C4 are going to be the hardness tire or hardness levels of the tires. But Max, who did have the fastest lap, was on the C4 and not the C5. So he put in the fastest lap overall during testing on what is going to be the softest tire for this weekend, which I find interesting. I mean, Carlos Sainz also did it on the C4 tire, which.
Now, do they have to use those tires at the start of the race, or can they choose to go C3, C or C2?
So that'll go back to the practice or not practice sessions, but to qualifying. So for any drivers, and I may not get this perfectly, but from what I remember, any drivers who are eliminated in Q1 and Q2 of qualifying can choose to use any tire that they want to start the race. So they can use the hards, the mediums, or the softs to start. But for anyone that makes it all the way to Q3, the top 10 for the race, whatever tire they use for their fastest lap in the third qualifying session is what they have to start on.
and not just that tire hardness, that set of tires itself. Yeah.
So, like, if someone, it's 57 lap race, if someone wants to, like, go out and use the hards and go, like, 38 laps to start and then hop onto the softs for the end to make up some places or whatever, if they're out in Q3 or Q2, they can just do that. But if you make it all the way to Q3,
you have to use the tires that you qualified in.
Right. So, like, that's also, I think, like, one of the interesting things with, like, different tires and plans. Like, a team like Mercedes last year, oftentimes in Q3, they would run on the mediums because they're like, we're doing a one-stop strategy and we're going to do, like, mediums and hards or something like that for the entire race and just one
Gotcha.
stop. And so they would still be qualifying, like, first and second using the mediums when other teams are, like, just trying to keep up using the softest tires.
Right.
So
seems unfair.
And their car was just faster.
Right. No, I gotcha.
It was the leeway that they had with it, saving themselves a couple tenths of a second by, or I guess, giving everyone else a couple tenths of a second per lap by using the harder tire sets. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how that shakes out. I'm also interested to see if we have any tire durability issues like we've had in last season. I mean, there was the race Lewis finished on 3 tires. Valtteri had a blowout. I think Perez also had a blowout.
Was that on a warmer day? That was at Silverstone.
I don't think was on a super warm day.
Okay.
But I think it was just based on the setups for the cars and everything.
Right.
I think Pirelli also came out and said that they were hoping to fix any, like, durability issues with tires and whatnot for this coming season. But
there also could have been debris on the track too, because if I remember correctly, they were both punctures. It wasn't a degradation issue.
You might be right. For some reason, I was thinking it
especially at Silverstone, those were punctures.
Okay. I would have to go back to like refresh a little bit with that. I believe.
Dude, I thought you were an F1 expert, man. What the fuck? You don't remember every minute? You don't remember every second of every race?
Dude, I don't remember every second of my day. Like, my brain sometimes just, like, pauses.
What kinds of things live in your head though? What are you reminded of? Like, if something happens and you get a flash of a memory, what will that memory be? Will it be like a TV show? Will it be like a song lyric that it'll make you think of? Like, what tends to be the thing that is like...
I get a lot of deja vu.
Interesting.
I don't know. And I don't know if that's necessarily, like, what you were looking for. I guess with, like, memories and stuff, I remember more of the emotions of it.
Okay.
Like, as opposed to specific things. Or, like, how exactly happened. I remember more of, like, how I felt.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a decent bit of my brain power is probably used on having, like, the same line of a song repeating on again and again. Like,
gotcha.
A lot of mornings, I just wake up and there's a song that I could have heard the day before or I could have not heard in months.
Right.
And I'll just have a lyric just, like, in my head on repeat. Like, I'll get up, like, take a drink of water. So it's just on repeat. I go, I shower, I get myself ready. It's still just going the same lyric for, like...
You actually haven't had any thoughts yet? It's all just, Ruby!
Yeah, just...
Ruby!
First, like, 30 minutes of my day, I just have the same lyric like going again and again
Oh,
on
dude, that's
repeat.
so funny.
My brain's weird, man. I don't know. It's
That's all right.
it's
That's
an
okay.
interesting place to be sometimes. I'm sure like if there was an alien reading my mind or an X-Man out there reading my mind, they
An
would,
X-Man. It could be an X-woman too.
or X-woman,
An
either
X-individual.
X-individual reading my mind, they would just be like, "What is wrong with this person?"
Yeah, I feel like that would actually be really tough to do. Like, have you ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah, I have.
So, do you remember book 6? You remember book 6, page 253 it was? No, I'm just kidding.
I've never
But
read the books.
it was in oh, even better. Do you remember in book 6 when Snape was trying to teach Harry occlumency, the power of like rebuffing somebody out of your mind? And it
Mhm.
was always like the back and forth in the potions dungeon, and Harry's like, "That's personal," and Snape's like, "He doesn't care." Like that whole thing.
Yeah.
I often believe that's most likely what like mind reading is, like a concerted effort, like, and it would be so loud once you got in there, especially because like, is there the way they arrange their thoughts, does that make any sense to you? Because if not, you actually would need, yes, they'd be speaking the same language as you, but does like, would you need like a cipher, right? Like some crux that helps you like, oh, like understand the rest of it, right? Or is it just all noise?
like a legend on a map where
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is what you're
Or
looking at. Like,
exactly, because I often feel like it would be a terrifying place to go into somebody else's head, because like you have no context for anything. You might just like encounter like this thing and that thing, and it may be like an idea that they were like mulling around when they were this, and it's like evolved into this thing, but it presents to you because like what would it be to be in somebody's head? Are you
well,
just
yeah,
hearing their thoughts,
because
or
like
are you like existing? Right? Like, are you encountering things, or are you just like aware of their presence? How does it all work? Because, like, imagine if you stepped into like
Kanye's mind.
scary place.
It's
Like, you
got
would have to deal with, like, can you imagine at this point now, like, what his image of Kim might be? She'd be like this, like fucking Godzilla, like, we don't know.
and I don't
I can't hear you. You're muted.
I wait, what?
No, I can hear you now, but you were like doing this and talking, and there was no
Oh,
audio
I
coming through.
was yeah, I was think I guess I looked away from the mic. It wasn't picking it up.
It's okay.
I don't know if it would be necessarily like that. I feel like it would be well, also, what if you read someone's mind who speaks another language than you? Because, like, for me, all of my thoughts are in English.
Yeah,
But
right.
that's another thing. But I think it would more be like all the perceptions and things that are coming in. They're like seeing them and like the same as you are, or like kind of getting those same images, those same uh, feelings. That's what I
Right.
imagine it as. But then they would have to. I mean, they still wouldn't necessarily have context and things like that to what it is.
Do
But
they know you're there?
for
Like, would it be painful?
like,
Like, are you like
would I know that the
intruding?
person is like reading my mind?
Yeah, like, would you feel some kind of like burden on your brain, like you were holding an extra,
The
like there was some kind of watcher?
the way I imagine it, no. I would think of it
Hmm.
more as like you're in an MRI and like the thing is like getting your brain impulses and everything, but the person is actually getting like the images and the like
Right.
things. I think of it more
Weird.
like that as opposed to like
What about?
You feeling them in your mind.
I don't know, dude. Cause like, okay, what about like the Bruce Almighty theory of it, where it was just like all this like noise. It wasn't like directed or controlled. He was just
Well,
getting this like. I mean, that was like a different scenario, but I'm just thinking of different like imagery of it. Thinking of like different,
it would
you
probably
know.
be. I could imagine it being difficult to distinguish your own thoughts from that person's if you're like getting
Mm,
both, like if you're getting the inputs that you're normally getting into your brain along with like someone else's. Like it would be
right.
probably pretty hard to figure out how to differentiate to start. Um, but I just imagine someone, if someone read my mind, they're just like hearing elevator music basically.
That's an interesting thing though, because like you said you might get your voices confused. You have like an inner voice, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
like you know what that inner voice sounds like, but it's never made a sound before,
Right.
ever.
So, okay, think about, there are two things I want you to think about. One that's like semi related, and then one that's like definitely related. Semi related one. If you look at any object, your brain can imagine what it would be like to lick that object, first off. So, like, that's a weird one. Just look at something, and your brain can imagine what it would feel like to lick it.
Damn, that's so weird. And it's not like the taste either. It's just like
No,
what it would
just like
feel
the
like.
physical feeling. And
That's so
the
crazy.
second one that's more related to your inner voice. Um,
Oh, that's so funny.
your inner voice can just scream like indefinitely because it doesn't ever have to take a break to breathe. So like you can just have like imagine your inner voice just like screaming, and like even though like I have to take a breath to breathe there, I can just like have it in the background. These are
Oh, damn.
some of the weird things that that happen in my brain, and that I've had I've heard people say and thought about, and I'm like, oh, that's so weird.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It is. It's just an infinite yell, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just keep it going.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
So just a
Maybe that's
couple.
how you're supposed to drown out the in-laws. Just start yelling in your head.
Just in the back of your mind.
Yeah, just like the loudest shriek you can think of, and it just like goes on indefinitely.
It's just there until you
That's
stop.
so funny.
Um, but yeah, I would imagine mind reading would. I would think it would be just kind of following along with the way you decipher your own thoughts, um, as opposed to like them having to necessarily figure that all out. But I mean, no idea.
Neither do I. I've never been a mind reader.
Me either. Even though I worked in customer service for quite a while, and lots of people thought I could. They were
Even
very
though I've dated females before, I'm no mind reader.
no mind reader here.
Nope, that's a shame.
Maybe one day. Well,
Maybe one
actually,
day.
hopefully not.
Dude, once Elon Musk puts the chip in me, bro, a whole dude, upgrade your gray matter. One day it may matter.
I'm just waiting for the. That's from. Is that Futurama?
Mm-mm.
What is that from? Why do I recognize that?
That's the Brymar College interlude on Deltron 3030.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Yep.
Upgrade your gray matter, because one day it may matter. And then he comes in and he's like, upgrade your gray matter, because one day it may matter.
Yeah. I knew I recognized it, but for some reason it seemed like something that would be said in Futurama. I
Yeah.
was just like imagining that. Um, but yeah, that was our our Bahrain Grand Prix intro. Any other thoughts before we
Dude,
move
we're
on?
so bad. We're so bad. We're like, hey, let's talk about some F1 cars. Hey, what do you think about mind reading, bro? Like, it just derails so hard, man. I'm sorry.
It's so fun though.
It
I
is.
enjoy
It
it a
is.
lot. It's
So now, the Bahrain Grand Prix is the inner track where it loops down
yes.
and goes up with the long straight, and then the Sakir Grand Prix is the long outer track at that same venue.
Yes. Well,
Roger that.
shorter outer track, but like more ovular.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just with a couple different turns. I gotcha. But it's
right.
the same venue, same
Same
location.
venue and everything.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, very excited for it.
Well, I'm a fan of the Bahrain track. I like it. I think it's pretty quick. The turns are technical, so I think we'll see some good racing. But we pretty much only talked about Mercedes. I'm excited to see Max in the Red Bull. I'm excited to see how Max and Checo race together. I have a feeling
Yes.
that Max is going to be um my my fan in me wants to say that Max is going to be like just miles ahead of everybody, but knowing what Red Bull is looking for and how Sergio has raced previously, I have a feeling that we're going to see both of them very tight together, and maybe hearing some team orders telling them not to race each other.
I could imagine that, especially if they're 1-2 and have a decent gap.
Exactly.
I think that it would be relatively similar though to like Lewis and Valtteri last season, if that's the case, where Max would have like a solid like 6 seconds maybe like
Right.
later on in the race over Sergio. Um, but of course, there's also the potential for there to be like, I mean, not hoping for it, but for there to be safety cars and things like that that could bring the
Mm-hmm.
field together. There's always stuff that can shake things up. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a sandstorm on Sunday, like they had in the first session of the testing, and cars will be slipping and sliding like they're on water out there. I mean, it's an interesting track. I think it should be fun to watch though. But yeah, I think that there could be team orders coming into play, being like, hey, it's the start of the season. Don't risk anything dangerous or taking
Right.
yourself or your teammate out. Like we want to win the championship.
Because
Like
I was just about to say, we're expecting big things out of Red Bull this year.
a
I think,
lot of
right?
expectations for them to actually be competitive for the title. I think
Right, right.
based on how everything started and the fact that Mercedes looked like they faltered a little bit. Even though I
Mm-hmm.
think they'll still be pretty tight. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 1-3 Red Bull and a 2-4 Mercedes, or a 1-2 Red Bull 3-4 Mercedes, like
Mm-hmm.
in terms of final positions. Yeah, I think that they want to start out really strong and want to get as many points up there on the board as they can to get rolling. I think with the number of DNFs Max had last season, they're hoping to avoid as many of those as possible,
Yeah.
to try and keep the boys up there in the points. Because I mean, without the DNFs, Max beats Valtteri pretty much like 8 times out of 10 in terms of
Right,
driver standings by the end of the season. If they had the
right.
same number of DNFs, I would say, because of the couple extra wins that Max had. So, yeah, I think it's going to be fun, but I very high expectations for Red Bull. Um, I'm really interested to see, I guess, in terms of other teams. I'm interested to see how high up McLaren finishes,
Mm-hmm.
because they look so strong coming out, and obviously Danny Ricks is getting used to the new car still, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll be fun, and really the AlphaTauri too. Like everyone else, it'll be interesting to see, but those are McLaren and AlphaTauri are the non-contenders for the title. that I'm most interested to see how they do, personally.
Wasn't McLaren third last year?
They were, but not title contenders, really. Like, they were third in the driver's standings, but it was more of a race between them, Renault, and
Yeah,
Racing Point
yeah.
for third, more than it was a like race for McLaren to be in like first or second.
Yeah, that was pretty far off, but I mean,
it's a new season.
they have they have
know.
two great drivers,
Yeah. So
I'm hoping that the fight at the top may be a little more scrappy.
I think that also comes down to how hard Mercedes and Red Bull are fighting each other.
Right.
Because that was one of the big things that we wanted to see out of Alex Albon last year was him pushing those Mercedes. Like when he was behind Valtteri, we wanted him to be closer up to force them into some errors and everything.
Right.
If there is a tighter contention between Red Bull and Mercedes at the top, that could force some mistakes out that open up doors for McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine to potentially get some different higher race scores.
Yeah, because I think if you can put the pressure on, you can, like you were saying, you can force mistakes more easily than if they just have clear air in front of them.
Right. Like that was the big thing that anytime Max was on their heels, it seemed like the Mercedes cars were having trouble with their keeping their tire wear down and things like that.
Right.
Lewis, it wouldn't be a F1 race if Lewis wasn't complaining about his tires at some point. So
these tires are gone, mate. I can't go any longer.
And then puts in a fastest lap 3 laps later on the
right.
same tires.
Right.
But yeah,
he's actually clueless. He actually doesn't know what's going on inside an F1 car. He's just guessing.
Yeah, he like what experience does he actually have?
Yeah, can he even see, dude?
But I think overall, like for me personally, McLaren and AlphaTauri are the most intriguing of the like midfield or the best of the rest, especially Yuki. But I mean, all the teams are. It's going to be interesting from the start.
Wednesday night hot take: Yuki Tsunoda takes P2
for the race or for qualifying.
For the race.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to guess. I'm gonna guess like a solid qualifier by Yuki, like P5. Anywhere from like P6 to P8. And then Matt overtakes and Yuki ends P2 on the podium. That's my hot take for the weekend.
I like it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, that's going to be my hot take for every weekend. And then one time I'll be right and I'll be like, yeah, boy!
Look at that prediction.
Yeah! 1 for 10.
I'm really excited to see some actual racing. Like
is that just a meme or like?
No, like I mean, like I'm excited to see the cars like side by side going through corners and everything.
Oh, not just by themselves.
Yeah. Like testing is they're just doing laps. They're trying to give themselves some space, kind of like qualies. Like I'm excited to see some like hard nose racing, like inches away from each other, wheels about to touch.
They're going wheel to wheel.
Or even maybe, and they touched going around corner 3. I love that. It's so exciting. It gets the heart pumping, man.
And it's lights out and away we go. I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait to hear Martin Brundle.
Is that his name, Martin Brundle? I can never think of it.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Martin Brundle.
Yeah. Martin
what a guy.
Brundle. Yep.
It's lights out and away we go.
Yeah.
We're racing in Jakarta.
He's like, unfortunately, one of the longtime broadcasters for F1 passed away recently, and all these people were like, that was the voice of F1, but like Martin Brundle's like my voice of F1.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when I imagine the start of a race, that's what I imagine. It's lights out and away we go.
Right. That's what I think of.
Or like
But
you could
I've just been a
probably
fan for.
you could probably place like bets on the 3 things that he will say for the start of this Grand Prix. It'll be like, and it's lights out in Bahrain, or it's lights out and away we go, or it's lights out for the 2021 season. Like,
he might do something like that.
You could probably place some wagers on how he's gonna his opening line for the racing.
I'd probably want to study it a little bit more and like hear how much he actually recycles things before I place bets. But yeah,
some pretty similar. I mean, obviously it's the start of a race, so they're gonna be similar. But I feel like those are my 3.
and it's got to be succinct because he's got to say that and then immediately get to like
Turn 1, like
right, and especially some people are able to like pull away right in the beginning, and you got to be
start by whoever. And,
right.
So
interesting. Martin Brundle, the voice of a generation, dude.
Yep.
He's the voice I hear when I fall asleep. He's the voice I hear when I wake up.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I wake up, that's actually I just hear him talking, like repeating the same line again and again. When I'm
that's so funny. That's actually how I go to bed at night. I just hear him saying in my head, "It's lights out and away we go," and then I just hit the pillow and snooze.
You're just out.
Yeah.
That's how I'm just gonna start like going to sleep. Like before I hit the light switch, I'm just gonna be like, and it's lights out. Hit the switch.
Dude, you better be careful. That's just gonna go on loop, and then you're not gonna be able to say anything else.
Oh.
And then you will be like Groot.
I am.
Lights out. Lights out.
Or
lights out.
Or for any Game of Thrones fans, Hodor just repeating that one word again and again.
Damn, dude.
Sorry to bring back bad memories of a show that ended poorly.
I never watched it.
Oh, good for you. It was great for 5 seasons.
Is that the number? How many were there?
I think
20?
7 or 8.
Brutal.
The last one's rough, man.
Now, how many years before they reboot it and go back to the beginning? Do you think when what's his name dies?
No.
They just pillage the IP and
they're going to do a like origin story type show, like of the like before what happened in Game of Thrones. That was planned. I don't know where it's at with like COVID kind of halting a ton of media production.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like something that was put in the works. But the writers who poorly ended the actual Game of Thrones show, I hope are not involved at all.
Right.
It was depressing.
Yeah, that's got to be bad. I heard an interesting point the other day. It was like, how come the executive producers and producers of shows that pan and like bomb horribly, like why don't they get fired?
Couldn't tell you. Well, like for them, I think they actually did get fired. So a big thing that it sounded like they were doing was they were looking to close up the series more quickly than they needed to. So like a lot of things were missed out because apparently they were looking to go to work for Lucasfilms and Disney with Star Wars. And then I'm pretty sure they got fired from that. and then like Game of Thrones sucked at the end, and then they got fired from the thing that they were apparently trying to like wrap up Game of Thrones to move on to.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they were. It was.
That sounds pretty rough.
So technically, I think it says that they quit, but I think it was kind of a forced thing a little bit.
Forced out. I understand. Damn.
But yeah, so they like screwed up one of the best, what could have been one of the best shows like of all time, if they had ended it well, and then
right.
didn't do anything afterwards. So
that's brutal.
Fun stuff.
Well, I'm glad I didn't invest any time into it then.
Yeah, no, it's
hell yeah.
It's better that way.
Good.
I invested years of watching that show.
It's no good.
It's always disappointing when that happens, but such is life.
Such is life.
But yeah, so getting on to I guess our next topic, we've got we had a couple of LCS series this past weekend.
Playoff.
Yep.
You gotta love it.
I saw them calling it something. Oh, what were people calling it?
The mid-season spectacular.
Like they had some name for it, and it just still. I'm gonna probably mention it basically every episode, but it still bothers me that like the casters are calling it the spring split playoffs, but then it's like not, because there's no spring split, and it's just,
right.
But there was some name for it out there somewhere. But anywho, we had the TSM Team Liquid series. Solid series. A little bit, I think, less competitive than I expected it to be. Slightly. I thought Power of Evil looked really good for TSM, even though they finished 1-3 in the series. But
yeah,
did you have any thoughts or standouts from that series that kind of caught your eye, or anything that impressed you, or that you think looked shaky going further on?
It seemed the way the series went, it seemed like they were struggling in the pick and ban, and then also, like, once it went past 25 minutes, TSM just has no idea what to do.
That's kind of the same feel I got. It seemed like they have a strong early game and were kind of controlling the map pretty well, but
they have good players.
Yeah, but couldn't quite close it out, or the later game team fights were just not good.
Dude, like oh man, I just had like nightmares of the Jensen flank on Ari where he bounced over the river wall.
Oh,
it was just
right
like
by Dragon. It was
man, as a team, TSM, like,
they knew he was there.
Right, but they still felt like they had to walk up all together in a big ball and say, "This is what we're doing."
He was clearing minions under turret bottom lane.
Yeah,
and then he just waltzed around.
He disappeared. Where do you think he went to? And like honestly, like that play, I think perfectly sums up TSM and how that whole series went. Like game one was tied up, neat little bow. And then they're like, never mind. Here you go, Team Liquid.
Yeah.
And that, like, yeah, it was just, it was really disappointing overall. Like I said, once it went past 25 minutes, I just don't think they knew what to do. They didn't know what a ward was.
I was very impressed by Sword Art's play. I thought he looked really solid throughout the series.
Sure.
I think the most consistent member of TSM.
Him and Power of Evil, sure.
Yeah. but it was
Maybe,
strange.
maybe a different weekend they would have been okay, but it was a rough series going down 3-1. I think they would have been in a better spot if they would have had the win from game one. Like maybe their morale would have been a little bit higher. But dude, no amount of morale is going to save you from like not warding over these like obvious positions, like taking these terrible team fights. I just it was a tough series to watch.
Yeah.
TSM kind of bit the big one, but I mean, hey, shout out to Team Liquid. They played really well. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for whoever has to play up against them. But
I
yeah,
think so
they
too.
kind of picked apart TSM.
Yeah, well, and the other kind of wild thing was like Jensen throughout the series was just
He's insane.
he was a rock, man. Like
Yeah.
his stats, like if I his combined KD or KDA, I would have to go back through and see what it was, but like game 1 6-3 and 11 on Oriana, game 2 7-1 and 10 on Ari, game 3 5-1 and 2 on Silas, game 4 5-0 and 13 on Twisted Fate. Like those
Yeah.
are like even in game 3 when they lost, like no one else on the team is positive in KD, and he goes 5-1 and 2. Like,
And that was the Silas game, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good on it.
That, and I thought that was such a good pick too. Him playing that when you've got the Hecarim ult, the Seraphine ult, Nautilus ult, Camille ult on the other side. Like there's so many ults that you can steal that do so many different things too.
Right.
You can. I thought that was a great pick in that. That I mean, it didn't work out, but also, I mean, they picked Ezreal Leona for their bot lane, so like.
Yeah, that was
This
questionable.
is what we said earlier in the season, though. What, like Ezreal, there's no need to be playing him right now. There's just not. I
Especially like when you can buy his most valuable ability for whatever it is, 2,600 gold. Like, why do you play Ezreal for the Arcane Shift?
right.
What can you buy? Gale Force gives you an Arcane Shift. Like, he's just
There's no reason for it.
yeah, not not strong in the meta. Now, was he the reason they lost that game? No, I don't think so. But yeah, overall, they just
Yeah,
took them apart.
I think the main reason that they lost that was because Alfari got bullied a bit and in the top lane, and
Yeah, the
then,
Camille ran away.
and then TSM just was like, yeah, we're not gonna let this get to late game, and they closed that out pretty quick. I forget how long that, but it was much quicker, I think, than most of the other games in the series.
Yeah.
I forget exact times. So it'll be interesting now because with the schedule, this weekend we do get TSM versus Evil Geniuses for a series in the lower bracket, so we'll get to see kind of how they bounce back from that. We get 100 Thieves. Spoiler alert: 100 Thieves lost to C9. So 100 Thieves versus Dignitas in the other series this weekend. So
Yep.
couple more good matchups to see kind of where things shake out. I think it would be a huge disappointment for TSM if they lose out the series versus EG. After losing 3-1 to Liquid, I think getting bounced in back-to-back series would be pretty brutal on morale. But I think EG is a pretty solid team, so it's going to be. I think that's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what changes they'll make as far as like pick and ban if they figured anything out about how to play around dragons and barons and stuff. But yeah, if they look the way they did against Liquid, I imagine Evil Geniuses is going to have a decent time in their series against them.
Yeah, I think honestly the biggest thing is just they need to be more decisive when trying to close out games. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've had leads, um, they've had opportunities to push those leads, and they just can't seem to find ways to do it, to just snowball things.
Right.
So I think that's their biggest thing. They have strong players, they have strong early games. They just need to be able to figure out how to close out stuff. So
Gotta convert. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many kills you get in the early game if you just like give them Baron for free.
exactly.
It literally doesn't matter how good you played in the first 10 minutes if you just, oh yeah, Dragon Soul, fuck, my bad. There you go.
Yep. Or
Like,
pick a bad fight, lose someone before a Dragon Soul or before a Baron, and all of a sudden you give both over to the other team.
right,
It's like
right.
because you were in the wrong position. Looking.
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot to do, but I think a team that does not have a lot to do is Cloud9. They looked insane. I figured it was going to be a quicker series, but I didn't expect a 3-0.
I did not expect a 3-0 either. 100 Thieves has some soul searching to do, I think, after that. Um, I I mean, figuring out like Ryoma playing in the mid lane and everything, he got outclassed by Perks big
Mm-hmm.
time. And I mean, it's easy for mid laners to get outclassed by Perks in the 1v1. Perks is really fucking good.
Right.
But if you're gonna be a top team and you're going to want a shot at the title, you can't lose that hard in the 1v1.
Right.
Perks just looked pretty dominant overall in that matchup, and it was nice to see. I feel like C9 didn't really give up too much of their game plans in terms of what they wanted to do in
Right.
their matchups. I mean, they like Perks played Tristana, Oriana, and Yone, three very different types of champions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, you have Sven on Ezreal in two of the three games, which, as we said, we don't really think that's a super strong pick, and they still like one-handedly with that pick.
Well, they know why they're picking it, and they know that their AD player is going to use it then properly. Like they're not at that point playing through the bottom lane. They're giving it to Sven so he can just kind of subsist and stay alive on his own. And with a player like Sven, that's what he's going to do. And he's going to know that the whole game is shifting to the top side. He's going to get less resources. And as a team, they understand that, and they build and play as a team from like they're building it up from the pick, from the ground level up.
Yeah,
Where it seems like other teams are just getting like uh they're just like, oh, we're just supposed to pick Ezreal here because they have, whatever. They're not really, it's not part of the team comp. It's not part of the plan. Like to your point, Perks played three different champions. That the team as a whole played three different team comps, which I thought was really impressive. And like you said, I think they won pick and ban every single time. They stuck to their plan. They knew what they were going to get, and they executed incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the huge thing is the fact that Sven and Vulcan are so comfortable playing weak side.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Sven definitely can carry games. Like he can pop off, he can play
Oh
the
yeah.
hard carries, like no doubt. But the fact that they can so easily just have him play weak side, and I think it benefits them a lot right now because with Fudge being younger, newer member of the team and kind of
Yeah.
still, I mean, he went through some growing pains during the regular season. I think being able to give him the support and have Sven on those weak side picks and everything
Mm-hmm.
is really beneficial to the way C9 are playing right now. But yeah, I mean they played three very different team comps and styles. I mean, Blabber played Lilia, Olaf, and Lilia, which also Lilia were like, I mean, I
Yeah, I'm very medium on Lilia, but whatever.
it works.
It gives you that big team sleep that you want. Yeah, whatever.
If it
Good wave
works,
clear.
if it works, it works. But if it doesn't, it's bad. Like
Right.
it
Right.
looks ugly if it doesn't work
And it's
out.
just boring overall. That's the thing. It's not like a flashy champion. You
Right.
know, it's not doing cool shit. It's just like hop, 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 hop. It literally just like prancing around. I don't know. Whatever.
I really love seeing like the Hekarims and the Olafs, honestly. Like Hecarim's cool because of like the ults and the different like crazy chase down that you have with its speed and everything. And Olaf, I just love that he gets that life steal when he's lower health because when you ult and you get your W on with and you're like 1v3 and you're just mowing through people, chopping them up with the axes
Well,
like a
because you're
maniac.
just like you're doing this at the bottom of your health bar because you're attacking so fast.
It's wild, and like for me, I find that super fun to watch because I mean, also the negation of any CC, like you can just like run that into a Zir and just sprint through those sand soldiers like a maniac.
Which is hilarious.
So I definitely I think C9 has to look favored going through the rest of the playoffs, but I
Yeah,
think
until TSM gets through the losers bracket and then comes back and beats them.
hey, nothing would surprise me. I've seen it happen. Um,
Lose to Liquid, beat Cloud9. What a weekend that would be.
that would be pretty wild.
That's funny.
But
I
any
doubt that shit'll happen though. They suck.
well, and next weekend we'll have the Team Liquid Cloud9 matchup. So we'll
Right.
get to see how that goes, and
Right.
I think that will be a much more interesting matchup than either of the two this weekend were. So
Well, I'll tell you, it's dude, packed weekends. We've got to be glued to the couch, glued to our screens, man. We got races going on, we got League of Legends going on. I need more monitors, bro.
I've got my dual monitors here, and I'm gonna have to figure something out. So
Hell yeah.
I'm
Jeez, oh man.
very excited though for our race, um, our live watch on Sunday.
Yeah,
I
are
forgot to
we
mention
stupid?
that.
Is this Easter Sunday?
No, that's next Sunday.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Then yeah, live at March 28th, Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yep.
Find us live on YouTube, right?
I don't know if I figured out how to do it on YouTube. We might have a Twitch channel, but we'll tweet it out ahead of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Twitch or YouTube.
Because Twitch is probably. I know how to do Twitch, so we can do that.
That works. All right, so we'll be streaming on Twitch
Yeah, we'll
for a live app.
We'll send out a link for the pod,
Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
live pod.
Yeah, nice. That'll be awesome for the weekend. We got games, and then we have fucking the race. Man, it's all happening.
It is. It's gonna be.
That's kind of exciting.
It's gonna be wild. Fun
Hell yeah.
weekend.
Fun weekend. Very fun weekend.
And maybe by then I'll have some packs to crack. If my magic box ever gets here,
It's just out in the ether, dude.
it makes me anxious not knowing where it is.
Well, because there's so much value sitting in that box that you're like, I want my money.
I just get too excited when I like the moment I order something that I have trouble just waiting for it. So
Well, the day is going to be when the second you order, a drone goes and picks it up out of the warehouse, and then it's on instant transit to you the second you hit order. That's going to be the day,
it's gonna be amazing and terrifying at the same time.
all at the same time.
Yeah,
We are cyborgs, though, already. So
basically.
think about that. Yeah,
Yeah, our phones are attached to us.
at all times.
Anyone who's concerned about the coronavirus vaccine having a chip in it, also carries their phone around with them 24/7 for everyone to be tracked where they are.
Yeah, seriously, like location on,
The
right?
government's gonna track me, but I'm also on Snap Maps and Life 360
Yeah, yeah.
and
Check in at Walmart.
sending out Instagram pictures with my location tagged.
Oh, yeah, man. Protect me from Big Brother.
Protect me from myself, jeez. Oh, crazy. But
We live in a crazy world. We do, man.
we do, and one day it will be that I can get my cardboard crack within minutes of ordering it.
Hopefully, we'll just have we'll have what's known as a mail room where it's like a chute that like enters our house. So anytime we order something, this is pre-drone. Some people are going to skip this phase and just go right to the drone, but some people are going to get this installed. Where it's going to be a tube that goes right into your house, like the bank, right? And only certain size packages allowed. But if it's within a certain size, it'll get shipped to you immediately via the package chute system.
You'll just be sitting in your living room and you'll just hear, thump.
Yes.
Like turn around.
Yes.
Oh, I got it. Or it'll somehow have it set up that it's got the old AOL mail sound. It'll be like,
You've got mail.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Or like you hear it like coming from far away, so you just like be having like watching your TV and just like
you just hear the echo through the tube.
I realized my mic wasn't picking up the sound, so I was just
okay.
like, whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
You hear it kind of rattling through the tube as it's on its way.
And then the thunk.
Yeah.
In the little pod thing. Hell yeah, dude. And then, yeah, my mana crit would have been here immediately then.
Exactly.
Goddamn, bro.
But yeah, I'm excited to get those cards. I'm excited to get my own mini deck tech part of the episode once I get it, to just tell everyone what I got.
Hell yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a deck tech. It would
Not
be more
exactly,
of a haul.
But I guess more of a like
a try-on haul.
This is my contribution to the Magic Hour.
Well, hell yeah, dude. I'm glad you have one.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're adding hobbies in your life.
Moving in
hobbies are good for the soul.
Plant dad and cardboard crack enthusiast.
Cardboard crack enthusiast. Plant dad. I feel like that would be a good tattoo.
Just
plant dad.
Plant dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Not for me. Maybe for like a vegan, I could see getting that.
Hell yeah.
Someone who's like real passionate about like nature.
And then the documentary's written about them when they finally go back to eating meat. Like, what made you swap back? He's like, I would just look at my plant dad tattoo all the time and think, that's sick, man.
I'm eating my children.
Yeah, exactly. His own like credo like turned him back. He's like, I'm a plant dad. I'm a father to all of these plants. And then he's like munching them in a salad, and he's like,
for me, it would be like, so I smelled bacon, and it was over. I was done.
And how many days after you profess your veganism did you smell said bacon?
One day.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I can never do it. What's
funny is Sarah's been making bacon, and we have a bacon press that she never uses for the bacon.
A bacon press?
Yeah, it's just like a weight, just like a circular big weight, so you could just, that's how I make crunch wraps.
Like a waffle iron that's like kind of wavy inside. Instead of having all the little things, you just put bacon and it comes out perfectly like a wavy.
That'd be sick.
It would be kind of cool.
Right. But I'm pretty sure it just comes out wavy because it like crinkles up and then it hardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know how bacon works, dude?
I do. I've eaten way too much of it at different points in my life.
Did I ever tell you about? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, anytime that me and Shane went camping this past year, we would take like, we have the cooler with all like the food and everything for us for the weekend,
Right.
and we were usually going on like 1 day or like 2 day, 1 night trips. And
Yep.
so we would just eat an entire pack of bacon with our breakfast. And so each of us are getting like 8 pieces of bacon.
Hell yeah.
It was phenomenal, but I have eaten easily my fair share of bacon.
Right. That's a lot. I mean,
It's
bacon
just,
is pretty solid though. You can't eat it on Fridays, depending on who you are, though.
I'll eat it anytime. And
That's good.
we would just cook our eggs in the bacon grease, give it some extra
Hell
flavor.
yeah.
Ooh,
Gotta love camping.
yeah, it's a blast.
That sounds great.
I'm pumped to be able to start back up again soon. Hoping within the next like
Getting warmer.
month and a half or so to be able to get first trip in for the season.
Right. For the season. Hell yeah. The
Yeah.
camping season.
Oh yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm so pumped. I've got
Outdoors,
big
man.
plans, big plans.
Big plans.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
So, but what were you gonna say about bacon?
I just had a restaurant idea back in the day for a restaurant that was built around like having bacon weave on everything. So you could get like a bacon weave wrapped hamburger, like a BLT. It wouldn't just be slices of bacon. It would be like this like large bacon weave sheet,
You
and
get
the
a
whole thing it would be like just bacon themed.
you get a salad and it's in a bowl that's like bacon weave.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, you can't get away with being healthy here, bitch.
Exactly. There's no green light menu there. It's
um,
all just bacon weave.
that sounds phenomenal. I've seen
Yeah.
so many good recipes with like bacon wrapped everything, and
Mhm.
making a bacon wrapped steak is not as easy as I hoped. I've tried it multiple times.
Really?
I either get the bacon too crispy to cook the steak all the way through,
Right.
or the bacon is perfect and the steak is a little more rare than I typically would like.
Right.
It's, I think I would have to like almost do the steak as like a reverse sear where you like bake it in the oven for a little bit first to start the cooking process and then like wrap it and cook it on like cook the bacon and everything.
Right.
I think that's what I would have to do, but I'm a little too lazy to put that much effort in without the like I don't have a grill.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
if I had a grill,
Finish it on the grill.
it would be easier, I think. But
I
for
understand.
current cooking capabilities, not quite it.
Limited. I understand. We got a grill recently. I'm excited
Nice.
to use it. Yeah, it's not an outdoor grill. It's like an indoor thing. I don't know. It may be weird. I don't know if it'll get hot enough to do what I want.
What is it, George Foreman or something?
Similar. Yeah, we'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll see.
Those
Give you
things
the
work pretty well. You get the grill marks.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. I have my doubts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You'll have to let us know. Let the people know.
Let the people know. We'll let you know.
Give a
See how
nice, honest review.
this is the HGT the the cooking hour.
Cooking hour.
Wow, the cooking hour. Wow, wow, wow.
Bacon wrapped everything.
Bacon wrapped everything. Call me Bacon Weave. That would be my superhero name. Bacon Weave. And my cape would be bacon.
Just in,
Homeless with all my bacon.
sounds like a pretty good superhero.
It's not the healthiest thing, but hey, at least they're eating. I would have bacon like lasers where I would just like be shooting like plates of bacon onto people on like homeless dudes like in their hands so they can eat them.
Yeah,
Like
just
you get some bacon, you get some bacon.
ending world hunger and increasing cardiovascular problems at the same time.
Ending world hunger, one blocked artery at a time. That's our motto.
I don't know why this made me think of it, but chicken and waffles is a super underrated like breakfast option in my opinion.
That's amazing.
Just putting that out there. I feel like not enough people know about chicken and waffles, and it's
They be
so
sleeping.
good. I was thinking about like all the different like breakfast meats, and I'm like, chicken and waffles doesn't get enough respect.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, bacon weave, nice superhero name.
Well, yeah, I think it could be. You know, and I would have a mask of bacon weave, obviously.
Right.
You know,
As one does.
as one does when your name is Bacon Weave and you're a superhero named Bacon Weave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess we should probably get into the deck tech before we get rambling too far off topic again. This has been a little bit of a rambly episode, but I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so too, but that's okay.
It's been fun.
I'm curious if you listen back, I'm curious if all of our episodes are just that. And like we think we're having these like really like, oh, we talked about that for a while or whatever, and was like, no, we didn't.
I think some we do. Some are
maybe some we do. Who knows?
Today we got a little off topic, but it is what it is. So we've got Azor the Lawbringer.
Yes, that is the third deck that we'll be covering here on the Magic Hour.
So we've already talked about Zakama and Golos decks. So yes, Azor is our third one. So
to talk a little bit about what you see as a casual viewer, I will flip my camera setup here.
Yeah, so as a casual viewer looking at this, I mean, you have a lot of creature cards in the deck, and a lot of...
So,
say what?
I said, what are all those creatures, though? They're sphinxes.
Yes, so you have a number of different sphinxes. Overall, I'm not really quite sure what to think of this deck. It seems like a pretty standard amount of lands. You've got a couple of extra planeswalkers in here. I'm definitely curious to see if there are any kind of secret commanders in the deck that I'm missing, but it looks like you have a really good number of higher mana cost creatures in this deck. Like there's not a lot of low mana cost just getting creatures out quickly in this. So this seems like it's kind of a longer win condition kind of style with this deck.
Yeah,
is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I would say so. So it wants to go a little bit later. It wants to go a little bit later than just the usual like 7, 8, 9 turns. I want to be closer, maybe like 11, 12 range.
Yeah.
I'm looking to put together a way to draw out my library. And one of the planeswalkers you mentioned, well, you said there were planeswalkers. One of them that you mentioned, his name's Jace. If you read the text at the top of Jace, it says, if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Normally, you would lose the game if that happens. If you would go to draw and there's nothing there to draw, you actually lose the game. Jace says you win the game instead. So I'm looking, that's my main way of winning. So you can either use Azor, you can use Brain Geyser, which is a sorcery. You can use Sphinx's Revelation, which is an instant. So it's basically just something that says draw X cards, right? So if you have a way to generate a good amount of colorless mana, you can put all of that into the Brain Geyser, the Sphinx's Rev, or the Azor ability to draw out your library. You'll end up finding Jace in that, and then you can just cast Jace +1 and win the game.
Yeah.
But the idea is so you see a bunch of instants. There's like Narset's Reversal, Thassa's Intervention, Absorb. Like all of those cards are to stop what my opponents are doing for a good amount of the game. Say no, 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 no. And then when I find a good opening, cast my big X spell and then be able to win the game there. Now, the Sphinxes that I have in there, so there's like Dream Eater, there's Unesh, there's Metamai. All of those are the ways that I'm like generating extra value out of my creatures. So Unesh is making my Sphinxes cheaper. And on top of that, you get to his ability is basically Fact or Fiction, where you give a pile of cards to your opponents and they separate them into 2 piles and they say you get to choose one of these piles to pick the cards.
Gotcha. Do you get to see those cards, or do they separate it and you're just guessing?
No, you reveal. So you would like reveal 5 cards, hand them to an opponent, and then they'll separate them into 2 piles. So you get to see those cards as they're making the choice.
Gotcha. And can they do like 1-4, or does it have to be like 2?
However they want.
Can it be 0 and 5?
They could, yeah. And like depending on your play group, depending on who, what's happened in the game, sometimes you may get a 5-0 split or a 4-0 split or whatever it is. Because what you're effectively doing is just drawing cards. It's just worded much differently.
So for like, say your top 5 cards, this happens. Your top 5 cards get pulled.
Yeah.
Jace is in that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that would be an instance where you want a 0-5 split as the opponent. Because
you would do a 1-4. You make them choose Jace over everything. Like no matter what's in the other pile, even if it's like triple free counter spell plus combo piece, like Jace is the combo piece, right? So you say you can have all that or Jace.
That makes sense. I was thinking more of a since Jace's goal is to get as many cards out as possible. Like if you force them to choose Jace or everything else, then you're most likely exiling 4 more cards into the great. Well, I guess. Do the cards go back into your hand, or do they go back into your deck?
The revealed cards will go onto the bottom of the library.
Gotcha. So, because in that sense, I would want like a 0-5 would make more sense in my mind because you would have forced them to have 4 additional cards into their library, which prolongs their ability to get to the Jace.
Sure.
Like
okay, so you're just like high level.
I don't know.
Game strategy on what to do with a Fact or Fiction pile.
I'm just curious because I couldn't tell if I was big braining or being stupid. So.
Well, no, that actually would be like pretty big brained where you're. Well, so no, how would that work? If you're giving Jace plus, okay.
Because you're either having them say, okay, I'll take Jace, and then I'm sending 4 more cards to my graveyard. Or you're saying, okay, I'll give them Jace, but they have 4 more cards in their library before they run out. And I guess obviously it depends what cards are in those other 4, whether they're going to be super beneficial or whether they're like I'm sure there's definitely some nuance to that decision.
Well, yeah. Yeah, those cards are always tough because like the right answer is never obvious, and depending on what flips off, like it could just be like five of the worst cards you don't want to see. You don't want them to have any of them, no matter what they choose. It's a bad thing. Like that's to me, that's what's so much fun about cards like that is you're like forcing an opponent into an error, and they can look at you and be like, oh, like what does he need most, what doesn't he have, and you're just like, yeah, you got to choose. And even in my head most of the time, like as I watch my opponents like shift them around, I often know no matter what happens, I'm taking the pile with that card in it. Right. Like I need that card over everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was I guess in my mind, well, and it also probably depends on, well, yeah, it definitely depends what your opponent's decks are playing as well, like whether they're, like if you want to prolong Jace's win condition for another however many turns for those additional cards sending back into the library, like right. You better have a win condition that gets you the wins sooner.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like they could not care about it at all if they're just going to win on their turn and they're right after you. They don't. They're not too worried about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always interesting with cards like that.
It's a really interesting part of Magic is like there is so much nuance. There's so many different types of cards with different abilities and everything, and that's not the only factor. It's also like what your opponent is kind of trying to do with everything. So
yeah, and to be honest, I think that's what I enjoy so much about Commander is the fact that you are like trying to contend with three opponents. It's not just one. The multiplayer nature of it is like very exciting, and it makes the deck building like I think like even more critical because a card has to be like a card has to do so much for it to be worth putting in a commander deck. Because you need it to pack so much of a punch, especially in our games last 10 turns, 11 turns, like 9 turns. So you're like building phase, you have a couple turns to like eke out an advantage, and then it's going to be over, or like somebody else is going to win or whatever. So yeah, building commander decks is always really fun because of the multiplayer nature, where like every card better be impactful because 3 of your opponents are doing like really impactful things with sometimes just like 1-2 cards. So yeah, it's an intense thing. Go ahead.
With a deck like this, where it is a later on win condition, typically, can you typically tell, or how early, I guess, can you typically tell whether or not you have a shot of getting there, or if you've just already lost and you're just kind of prolonging your inevitable end to the game?
Most times, as long as you have access to Jace, you pretty much always have a hope of winning. But if he's in the graveyard, I actually don't think there's like a good way of pulling Jace out of the graveyard.
Gotcha.
So if he gets like exiled or killed or something, that's probably when it's over and I can stop digging.
Is that something that you would be able to, or that you would consider adding into this deck? Like any sort of instant or enchantment that lets you like pull from your graveyard to try and get him back out? Or do you feel like at that point you've already you're a bit too deep in the hole where it's going to be too difficult to climb back? Is that
okay? So I think to answer your first question of like, would you make card additions like to protect the strategy in a way? I think instead of adding something that would be able to pull from the graveyard to like make sure I'm able to recur that piece, I think overall I would just want to make sure I had something in my hand to stop whatever was targeting it.
Gotcha.
And that also helps with like the big bodies that I have for my creature base, like all like the big flying sphinxes. A lot of those are pretty formidable in combat overall. And I have a decent amount of tricks
like
too.
Decently well with those.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a decent amount of tricks that I think I could stay alive and protect Jace rather than like expecting him to die over and over again, and like having to pull him back out of the graveyard. Because the idea is like I'm not gonna play Jace 3 turns before I'm planning to win. Like so 2 of the cards in the deck are Pilipala and Grand Architect. Both of them combined can make infinite mana. They can make infinite blue mana, or they can make infinite blue mana. So if you're able to make infinite blue mana, you're then able to cast Brain Geyser for your whole library. Jace is then in your hand, so you're casting Jace on the turn that you're winning. He's not like a piece that you're going to have out like ahead of time usually.
Gotcha. So you wanna kind of hang on to that to protect him from the ability to even be removed from the map.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Like if I'm paying 4 mana for a value, like so his +1 ability, mill 2 draw card. If I'm paying 4 mana for like a value draw card right there, I'm in a really shitty spot. And so then, yeah, I probably have already just died.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm mainly looking to protect those onboard pieces for like half a turn or a turn, like while I'm winning. Assembling the pieces in this deck is a little more like finicky. You know, I need Pilipala plus Grand Architect to stay alive, or I need Pilipala to at least stay alive for a turn, or have a way to give him haste, which I don't have a way to give a thing haste in this deck. So like that's a liability. But Pilipala needs to untap to do his ability, so you have to wait a turn rotation, right? So like there are some things that are what would you say, pretty
conditional?
Unstable, you could say.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Jace currently is, you know, you want to just be casting him on the turn that you're winning, and there's, you know, a bunch of other things. You could even use a Gadwick the Wizened to draw your library too. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, multiple ways. You could also draw your library with a Kefnet too. That's an activated ability.
So what does draw X cards mean? Because like there are also ones that are X mana and 3 blue for like Gadwick, or for your Brang Geyser. You've got X.
You can pay any amount of mana into X. So if you have an infinite amount of mana, X can be 10 million, and then you'll draw 10 million cards.
Gotcha.
But there's only 100 cards in your library. So you only want to draw enough to just empty it. So you only ever want to like make X like 75 or whatever, actually. For the 75 cards left in your library, cast Jace, because he's going to be in there. He's going to be in that stack of cards. So you just cast Jace and win the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so X can be any amount of mana that you're able to pay or want into it.
Okay, so like just however many mana you have available to you, you can be like, I'm going to tap for this many mana and play Gadwick and just
draw 60 cards. Yeah, cast Gadwick with an X of 60. Yeah, you could do that. And then you just draw 60 cards, and then in your 2 hands, you have 60 cards, and you got to flip through them to find the 2 or 1 that you need, and then you just cast that.
That's nutty.
Yeah, it's always really funny when you have your whole library. Or it's like, or there's cards that, for... I don't own a copy. I don't have any decks that have him, but Hermit Druid. So he has an activated ability where you mill cards from the top of your library directly into your graveyard until you hit a basic land. But what happens if you don't put a basic land in your deck? Your whole deck is just going to flip over into your graveyard. So you'll see people on like CDH channels. They'll be like, activate Hermit Druid. Does it resolve? And they'll literally just like flip over their whole library and just like put it upside down. It's hilarious.
Well, and for this, it's interesting because Hermit Druid, I just pulled him up, and he is a 1 any mana, 1 green mana. So like you couldn't even really put him easily into this deck since this is a blue and white mana deck.
And
you would need to start putting in ways to get a green mana to be able to play.
I would need a full different commander. I would need a full commander that has green in the
you need a tricolor. Oh wait, so is that a
that's what commander means, bro?
So that's a rule of commander that whatever I didn't realize that. So whatever the commander's mana is, those are the only manas you can use in the deck.
You got it.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that.
It's so fun because it limits you in deck building.
That's cool because then, that's really cool. I like that. I didn't realize that was a a set thing for commander. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the benefit or the like cheese of having a 5-color commander is you get access to all the colors, right?
Gotcha.
Right, but if you only choose, a mono red commander, you can only play red cards and mountains. So it's like a very, very limiting thing, or it could be the strongest thing depending on the strategy and the cards, right? It's all about unlocking the potential of the colors that you're in.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's sweet.
That definitely makes it much more interesting. What are there any restrictions on what can be a commander? Like how is it?
Legendary creature. That's as far as it's gone. There are some planeswalkers that are commanders.
Because I was gonna say, like I thought that there were planeswalkers, but those aren't. I saw the legendary creature Sphinx for Azor. So yeah, I was curious. That's interesting.
Planeswalkers can be commanders if they'll have text written on it specifically saying this planeswalker can be a commander.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not every planeswalker can be.
So I guess then what are your I know you've mentioned a bunch of them, but can you run back through some of your key cards of the different types like creatures, lands, planeswalkers, obviously. And everything through this deck that you have?
Okay, cool. So we'll start in the creature category. We'll go through a couple of the key cards. Now, I think Unesh, Cryosphinx Sovereign, he would probably be the secret commander just because he is reducing the cost of them. He's making them cheaper to play and giving you a card advantage effect when they enter the battlefield. So I really think he is a very powerful card in the deck. Gotcha. There is also, like I talked about earlier, the combo between Grand Architect and Pilipala that makes you your infinite mana for any of your draw cards. Yep. Consecrated Sphinx at the top of the list. 4/6 flyer. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2. So it's an insane card advantage engine. If you get it online, you'll draw 6 cards just by sitting at the table. And most players are drawing more cards on their turn. So Consecrated Sphinx is going to draw me an insane amount of cards, get me to my win condition sooner.
So with your creatures, you have 7 Sphinxes in this deck, not including Azor.
Yeah.
What is the primary reason that you have so many Sphinxes in this deck?
Because it's flavorful and fun, and I like them. Okay. And Azor is a Sphinx, and they're very, they're law-abiding things, and they're here to impose their control and will
Okay, I wasn't sure if there were any
That's all.
specific reasons that, like, maybe one of them had a certain sort of special ability that might have given extra strength to Sphinxes specifically, or I didn't know if that played into the deck at all, or if there was any built-in power in terms of that. But
There had been some of that, like some like tribal synergies. That all kind of came out over time to make way for the I would say like the control shell and then the like infinite mana package.
gotcha.
Because those all take like a couple of cards. Like
Right? Yeah.
I have Grand Architect in the deck. That doesn't do anything for me. You know, I need the Pilly Palette too, and then a way
Mm-hmm.
to go find it, right?
Right.
Um, so I think those are a couple of my key creatures. And yeah, you pointed it out. It's a little bit of Sphinx tribal just for theme there.
I like it though. It's a cool way to do it, and I think adds a little flavor to the deck.
Oh, 100%. Now, as far as lands go, it's all pretty standard, just trying to get as many dual lands in there as possible to
Mm-hmm.
always be able to fix for my colors.
Yep.
Uh, but notably, the two in there that I think are very important and have been pivotal in games before is Ice Flow, which can basically tap down a non flying thing and make it be able to not attack on future turns. And
Okay.
then also Prav, Spires of Order, is a colorless land that can prevent all damage a source of your choice would deal. So there were one or two times where I saw like a big haymaker coming, kept my mana open, and was able to just totally shut it down, say, nope, I'm not going to die to that this turn. And that's on a land. That's not a card that I had to have in my hand. It was just right there on the battlefield.
So
So I
you
think
can just tap
really
that if you get attacked instead of blocking with a creature card or just
right.
taking the damage.
And that's not just a creature that says all damage a source of my choice. So that could be like
Oh,
a
and
big sorcery, a big instant damage, like just some kind of like mass damage proc thing that happens. I can just say nope, not gonna happen.
gotcha. So that's
Yeah.
a really solid card, I guess, to have late game
Oh,
when people are
oh,
trying to throw out their big combos and kind of win condition
right. You can
spells
just
and
say nope,
plays.
not gonna happen.
Cool.
So, yeah, so that's a crazy land to have. Not early in the game, but later in the game, like you said, it's very beneficial. Both of the planeswalkers are well. Jace is quite important to the strategy, but Muyi
Right.
is less so. The one thing that I think is really cool about her is she gives me options in the early game. If I don't have some of my bigger creatures online, she gives me a way to either generate a creature or make one of their things smaller.
Yeah, I
Right?
see that you can do the creature with the 4/4 blue elemental bird
Yep.
token, which is, I mean, early game definitely a pretty strong kind
That's
of
Just
ability, which is,
anything that somebody has and
and
give me a good amount of time.
she's only 3 total mana to get out, so like that's
Right.
an easier thing to do. Also, -3 health is not a huge hit. Like with Jace, you have the -8 health potential to draw 7 cards. There's
Yeah.
probably going to be a lot of circumstances where you're not in a position where you're okay to draw, like just chunk 8 health of your own to draw that.
Well, and also that would mean that he was on the battlefield for a long time because he starts with 4, and then
Gotcha.
plus one, plus one, plus one, plus one, and then -8. So
Oh, so you're sorry. I That's my confusion. So is that -8 health, or you have to tap for 8 mana
no, that would be -8 of his health. So
of
that
his health?
four on
Gotcha.
the bottom right is how much health he enters the battlefield with.
Yes,
Then
gotcha.
+1, he'll go up to 5. They call it loyalty. So he'll
Oh, so you have to use that ability to gain the health, and
yeah,
then you can sacrifice the health
you
as you
got it.
go.
So you're
Gotcha.
basically you're getting to 8 as fast as possible. You're not going to 9. So you're like killing him when you use the ultimate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that thematically. It's kind of fucked up, but
Well, say you have 7 cards left in your deck,
mhm.
and you sacrifice him for 8. He has 8 health. and you
Well, right. That's why. That's why.
if he dies and you pull the 7 cards, do you lose?
No, because the activated ability says the same thing again. You'd be right. That static ability is then off the battlefield, but the draw 7 cards, then if your
If
library
you
has no cards and you
Gotcha.
gives
Okay.
it to you again.
Gotcha. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
you
So,
got it.
okay. So,
So I love Planeswalkers. I think they fit well in the deck. And then
definitely.
big the two big enchantments that I want to talk about are Merit Lage's Slumber and Leyline of Anticipation. So Leyline can come out for free if it's in my opening hand, and then you may cast spells as though they had flash, meaning I can cast creatures at instant speed. So like in response to things on my opponent's turns, I can play all my normal like slow speed stuff.
Gotcha.
And then Merit Lage's Slumber. So it says it's 1 and a blue for an enchantment, a legendary snow enchantment. It says whenever it or another snow permanent enters the battlefield, scry 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice this enchantment. If you do, make a 20/20 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So that's why all of the basic lands are snow-covered islands, snow-covered plains. We have the Boreal Shelf. Is there another one in here? I think there was another snow thing. But yeah, we have all sorts of snow permanents to try and turn that online, get a big 20/20.
Is Glacial Fortress?
Glacial Fortress isn't. It looks like one, though.
I
It
mean,
would say snow on it.
it says Glacial, so I would assume.
But reminds me, I think I actually, I don't know. I may have only had one copy of that. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so we have a bunch of snow permanents to try and turn that online. But that's like one of my favorite pieces in the deck because it's all kind of built around that a little bit. Well, there's synergy for it, I should say.
Gotcha. Okay.
All the instance, most of them are just interaction pieces. Stop a thing, kill your thing, give me that thing. Protect my things. But the 3 that I really like are Momentary Blink, Ephemerate, and Displace. So I'm able to basically pick up my creatures off the battlefield and then drop them back down, like to rebuy enter the battlefield effects. So when enters the battlefield, each opponent can't cast instants and sorceries during that player's next turn. So I could just repeat that effect a couple of times and say, no, you guys can't play that. No, you guys can't play that. No, you guys can't play that. Or any of my other enter the battlefields with like an Unesh or like a Blizzard Sphinx or whatever I'm trying to, enter the battlefield. I can use those cards to buy them at instant nonetheless. So I don't have to wait till my turn to do it. I can use them as I can wait to see what my opponent's going to do first.
Okay.
And then down in the artifacts, it's basically just card draw and ramp. Worn Power Stone, Wayfarer's Bauble, Soul Ring, Monument, Lantern, Signet, Arkham's Astrolabe. It's all just mana ramp. The Gateway is a way to get big mana that flips into, it turns into a land that'll tap for your life total. So if your life total is really high, you can get access to like 50, 60 mana. It's kind of insane.
Gotcha.
Just like from one card, which is amazing. But the big one is Scroll Rack. So you can exile any number of cards from your hand face down, put that many cards into your hand from the top of your library, and then put the exiled cards back. So you basically, with Scroll Rack, have access to 2 hands of cards that you could like cycle through, arguably, if Scroll Rack's untapped.
Gotcha.
So it really helps you just like find what you need quickly and make sure you have like the parts in hand. And then in sorceries, we have Part the Water Veil, take an extra turn. With Awaken 6, which often at the end of a game, not only do you need that extra turn, but you need another body to hit somebody with. So that gives you an extra creature that's a 6/6. So on that extra turn, if you awaken it, it can swing on this turn, and then you have more damage going forward, and then you a couple of board wipes in Time Wipe and Supreme Verdict. Time Wipe, I can save one of my creatures, and Supreme Verdict can't be countered. If I want it to happen, it's going to happen.
Okay, very cool.
Or those are like top cards, pet cards, kind of favorite cards in each of the little categories, and it all fits together to be a nice like control package with an infinite mana win condition.
Very cool.
Yes, sir. That is Azor the Lawbringer, Sphinx Tribal.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
So another really cool deck tech, very different from the other ones that we've seen. I think that's going to be something that we'll see in a lot of these Commander deck techs. So
these tokens just came in the mail. So this is the Mu Yan Ling emblem that you get, and then this is the 1/1 token that you get for the Nadir Kraken. They just came in the mail.
Very cool.
One thing I hate more than anything, one of my big pet peeves, is like somebody playing a card, they say it makes a token, and then they'll just like they'll just like grab their lighter and be like, okay, this is my goblin token, and then just like put it on their battlefield. I'm like, I fucking hate you. So I make sure that I have all my tokens.
Get legit tokens, people.
Exactly. So when it says make a tentacle, I can say makes a tentacle, bam.
Hentai.
But yeah, you know how it says like, oh, we made this change for clarity. We made this change for clarity. That's what it's all about. If you have the tokens, nobody can be like, what the fuck is that?
Yep, clarity is huge.
Motherfucker.
Keeps everything as it should be.
As it should be. I hear you.
We're becoming for myself and any other people who are just learning more about Magic, we're going to become Magic snobs right off the bat, thanks to Justin.
I don't know. I don't think I'm snobby.
Get your creature tokens, bitch.
Yeah, all right.
No, I'm just messing around. I don't think it's that snobby. I definitely think it benefits in terms of having to be like, especially if you have a deck that has a bunch of creature tokens and you're like, well, this is my this and this is my that, and that like none of them actually say what they are.
We're all playing over webcam nowadays.
True.
Yeah.
Makes it tough.
Exactly.
So
buy the proper tokens.
They're probably pretty cheap.
Some of them are. I just paid $3 for a token. Like the Worm Coil engine, it makes these, when it dies, it makes a 3/3 life-linking token and a 3/3 death-touching token. Those I paid like $1.29 for.
Okay.
They're just like more popular, a little more rare. Haven't been around that much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's worth it because then you like it's more impressive than the actual Worm Coil that you have the tokens for the Worm Coil.
Get to flex on people a little bit.
On them with the tokens. That's what it is, and they're in sleeves. They look pretty. They're not scuffed at all. Dude, I'm a true player, man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, my token game on point.
We're learning one card at a time, one deck at a time.
One deck at a time. Always brewing. I was gonna recommend to you if that could be our tagline for the podcast. It would be the tall and short of it podcast. Always brewing.
It's not a bad one.
It's okay.
I'm not opposed to it for sure.
But I often think of brewing like when I'm thinking about Magic cards. That's what we call it. We call it brewing.
I mostly think of beer.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. People would think we're like a beer brewing podcast, and then they would just hear us like talking about banal weird stuff, and then F1, and they'd be like,
welcome to the craft beer hour.
I wouldn't be able to have that conversation at all.
I would have a very short. It wouldn't be an hour.
Yeah, I drink Yingling just like you, and that's it.
It's a good beer, man.
Cheers. But yeah, that's kind of all I have, man. Is there any other topics that you wanted to hit?
No, I think that kind of covers everything we were looking to go through. looking forward to this Sunday for the race, so keep an eye out for some tweets about that. I will see if I can put the link to the Twitch channel that will be on in the description for this YouTube video. So yeah, follow us on Anchor, Twitter, YouTube. Can find all the links out there. We'll make sure to put those in. But Justin, go ahead and take us out of here.
That has been another episode of the Tall and Short of It. Once again, I'm Justin.
I'm Aaron. Thanks, everyone.
Peace out.